Finance Department, you will see it in black and white that as far back as 2006, we were already talking about separating pensions and staff investment from the main finances of ECWA headquarters. So it isn't something that was hurriedly done at the twilight of our exit from office. And I thank God that what looked like a dream in 2006 became a reality in the last few years. So, EPML by design is meant to have pooled short and medium-term funds for staff pensions and investments. Then, EDFSL, our own company, was meant to be an avenue for pooling long-term funds for infrastructural development. And by design, EDFSL was expected to do two things. The two things the company was expected to do are contained in what looks like the concept paper that I did for ECWA USA 2014 conference, where in that piece, we clearly indicated that EDFSL was supposed to be into banking and real estate development. And an aspect of EDFSL will give rise to a bank. And God helped us to put a bank together. But if EDFSL that needed to be the father of the bank had no legal life, how would an individual that has no legal life give birth to an outfit that has a legal life? It was in answering that question that EDFSL was formally incorporated the year it did. And so we have three companies. Cowans Microfinance Bank, conceptualized to be pooled deposit funds for financial intermediation and for corporate lending to enable or to facilitate the economic empowerment of our members and the general public. EDFSL, long-term funds for infrastructural development. And then EPML, pooled funds on short-term and medium-term basis for staff pensions and investments. These three companies have been designed to be growth generators for ECWA. There is no serious country on the face of the earth that does not have a central bank. There is no serious development agency in the world that does not have a bank through which they pool resources for strategic deployment. So even if you are talking about the triad economy, they have their own bank. If you are talking about the BRICS, they have their own bank. And so the essence of these banks is to facilitate strategic funds deployment. And so, if we truly are serious in ECWA to be able to empower our members and to see to it that our operations are proceeding unfettered, then of course, the idea of the bank was very germane. The idea of EPML, very germane. The idea of EDFSL, very germane. And you might even be thinking that the idea of the bank came from us. No, the answer is typical no. If you go through a document that is there in the store, I don't know how many of us, bothered to read it. A document called ECWA Manual. When we finish from here, go and look for it to read. You will discover that as far back as late 80s or thereabout, eggheads like Professor Turaki and his men already planned to have a bank for ECWA. So it is not like we came up with the idea. The answer is not, is far from that. It's been in the pipeline. It's only that the idea was not completely operationalized. If you are driving to NTA, you will see one outfit by your right-hand side, LG. LG, I think the building is being used by LG or LG major distributor. That building was offered to us to buy many years ago so that we could start our own bank from there. But it was not done. If you go through that ECWA manual as well, you will see clearly ECWA intended to have an insurance company. So if any insurance company comes up tomorrow, it is not coming from out of the blues because it had already been seen by some people in advance. So let us return to EDFSL. Who are we or who we are? EDFSL is the only real estate development and finance company in ECWA portfolio of strategic businesses. What is our corporate vision? The vision of EDFSL is to be a reputable real estate development and finance company, economically empowering ECWA and ECWA members. What is our mission statement? Our mission is to mobilize funds for the development and finance of landed properties for ECWA and her members in a profitable and sustainable manner. I want you to underline profitable and sustainable manner because we will return to the two key words later. And of course, our shared values, professionalism, excellence, and godliness undergird our business transactions. So now I want to put what I have just said in a pyramid form. I want to put it in a pyramid form so that you can appreciate it, a bit better. All right? Good. So go to the next point. Yeah. So here I'm trying to say that through the demonstration of professionalism, excellence, and godliness, we will move into the next point. We will mobilize funds to develop infrastructure for ECWA and ECWA members in a profitable and sustainable manner. Why are we underlining these two keywords? Why are we underlining these two keywords? Because they are very key in our operations, and they were arrived at having looked at some of the outfits we have in ECWA portfolio of strategic businesses. You know many companies that were once vibrant many years ago, and today they are struggling to survive. So we purposefully want to learn from their own pitfalls so that we will not fall into the same trap. Because in my language, they will say, if the sickness that killed your dad kills you too, you are not a wise son. In Hausa, we have it in a little different way. Inka geni gemu abokin kaya kama huta. Menene ya kamata ke kai. Ka jage feka manalaka kanaka. You understand? That is my own. Baruaba kajeka manalaka. So what are we trying to say? If you see that your friend's beards caught fire, what you will do is to go and protect your own so that you will not fall victim of fire as well. So we purposefully are looking at why they are where they are today so that we will not toe the same line. Because all across the world, everywhere we go, even if we are presenting for EDFSL, They will be asking us about company X, company Y. Are we sure what happened to them will not happen to ours? I believe these have been taken into consideration in the conceptualization of Gowon's Microfinance Bank, Equa Portfolio Management Limited, and Equa Development Finance Scheme. If we are in business and we are not profitable, how can we empower the investors economically? If we are profitable today and we are not profitable tomorrow, then of course, it will be of no use. That is why, like I said, we have marked these two keywords. And then when we operate, when we mobilize funds and develop infrastructure, what are we supposed to achieve? We'll be able to economically empower Equa and Equa members. For what purpose? Is it for them to just have more money in their pockets? Or for them to be able to do more than what they were doing before in terms of enjoyment of finances? The answer is to enable all of us participate more in the mission of the church. That's the idea. The church is at the heart of our operations. We long to be able to do this again and again, God willing. Now, I will pull out the second box and dwell on it a little more. The second box, that is to mobilize funds to develop infrastructure for Equa and Equa members in a profitable and sustainable manner. Under the move, Steve, the next one. If we are to mobilize funds, we intend to mobilize funds in two ways. One, through equity shares. So in 2016, the company sold shares. As we speak, some shares are on sale. Second, we intend to mobilize funds through monthly contribution by us and Equa outfits. If we are able to do this, then of course we can move to the next box. If we are able to do this, we will be developing corporate property and doing personal property for individuals. Let us quickly look at our funding as at the end of 2017. At the end of 2017, our equity capital stood at 710 million. About 710 million. We also had managed funds to the tune of 39.7 million. Looking at the audited accounts as at December 2017, for every 1 naira share, we had returns of 25 kobo or 25%. Out of the 25 kobo, we gave dividend of 10 kobo or 10% back to the investors in fulfillment of our promise. For now, we have a major existing product. And that product is what we coined as ED corporate property. ED corporate property. What is the main feature, or what are the features of this product? Properties developed and managed by the company. They are buildings, property, developed by the company and managed by her. And what's the benefit of having ED corporate property? It is for the purpose of rental services offering to Equa and Equa members with exclusive right of first refusal. Okay? So when we finish developing these properties, we will come to you. Are you interested? If you are interested, we will give you preference over and above someone who is not in the Equa family. In the next slides, I will be showing you 3D or 4D pictures of the properties we are developing. This is Port Harcourt Phase 1. You have the front of the building and the back of the building. The foundation for this building was laid on the 25th of May 2018. And as we speak, like the Hausa man will say, Ana aiki dere de rana. They are working round the clock doing the construction of this building. And we want to thank sincerely the Director of Audit, who graciously mobilized the auditor at Abadi CC to be overseeing this project. And we are very, very thankful for that. The next one is Lagos Phase 1. This building is Lagos Phase 1. And it is a building that has 4 floors on top. If you add the ground floor, then of course you have 5 floors. This was the first building to be commissioned. The construction was the first to be commissioned in the series. And that was on the 15th of March, if I'm not mistaken. 15th of March, 2018. Port Harcourt and Lagos are scheduled to be commissioned in December this year. That is why they are working round the clock. Again, we want to thank the Director of Audit for assigning the auditor based in Lagos to oversee the day-to-day construction of this building. Because we are here, we send money to them and we are not there to monitor what's going on. This building, by design, is going to have a lift. So if you go there and you are a bit elderly and you cannot climb to the last floor, you just punch a button by the side. The lift will take you, or the elevator will take you to wherever you want to go and come back. So it is a standard building that can stand, any other building in this day and age. All right? So you have the building in front of you. The next one is Kaduna Phase 1. Kaduna Phase 1 was commissioned for construction on the 4th of April. Lagos came first, Kaduna followed, and Port Harcourt was the last. In fact, as we speak, they are also working day and night. The commission date of this building is next month, September. This will be the first building to be harvested. And from what the GS was telling us recently, over 100 people have come to that place to express their interest to have one of the rooms. So that is just to tell you it is a viable business that we are doing. In fact, I can say this authoritatively. By the time we get to the last floor in Lagos, I'm sure they will be overwhelmed by applications for space. Port Harcourt, if you have been to these properties before, you will know that they are a center of commerce in their various states. Kaduna is Ali Akilu Road. Lagos is Agegemoto Road, Challenge Premises. Port Harcourt is... These are our corporate property. In public offer, as we speak right now, so to speak, equal public offer to raise, to sell 1.5 billion naira shares. Why are we doing this? I think you have to take note of this. I have heard the rumors making the round that the money we raised at the first offer is not enough to do the projects that have been earmarked for Phase 1. That is why we are back in the market to be able to get funds to go and complete the project. Some even said we started and we could not make any headway. That's not true. Please, that is not true. We have enough to take care of our phase 1 projects. We are in the market to raise funds for our phase 2 projects. And the phase 2 projects will be shown to you shortly. In addition to what you are going to see in the phase 2 projects, we have Makurdi Shopping Plaza and a 200-student hostel block at Bingham University. The university is expanding and there is the need to have befitting hostel accommodation for the students. That is why we are going there as well. In the first offer, people complained that 50,000 naira worth of shares was too much for them. And the people that were complaining are not the big men like you and I that are here. They were the artisans, those who are selling yams on their heads, you know, the market yams, the market Irish potatoes. You see them with babies on their bags from one center of the town to another, you know. Those are the ones that were left out. And so to be able to accommodate all of them, the board decided to bring down the minimum shares you can buy. So in this offer, 20,000 shares are the minimum you can subscribe for. But each share sells for 1 naira 10 kobo. If we wanted to sell the shares in order of the profit we made at the beginning of this year or at the end of last year, then you would have expected us to sell each share for 1 naira 15 kobo. We made a profit of 25%. We gave 10% back to the investors, and we have 15 left. So we should have sold each share for 1 naira 15 kobo. But the shares are instead offered at a discount of 5 kobo. That is why you are buying it for 1 naira 10 kobo. Okay? So if you are buying 20,000 shares at 1 naira 10 kobo each, you will be required to give 22,000 naira. And of course, subject to multiples of 10,000 shares. So you can buy 20, you can buy 30, you can buy 40, you can buy 50, 60, 70, 100, 200, 500, 1 million, 1 billion, 1.5 billion. You understand? And even if shares are oversubscribed, we have space to accommodate every dime. So we also, in the course of conceptualizing the sale of these shares, decided at the board to make 15 million naira available. We mobilized them, and we are going to reward everyone according to the number of shares. Those who helped us in the to fill in. Once we get in how many shares each person sold and what is due to each person, we'll call you and do further negotiation. The offer originally was scheduled to close on the 29th of June 2018, but when the board looked through, after all the interactions, they felt that we should push it to October 31. The feedback we are getting is that many of our members are in the farms. In some of our DCCs, at this time, they don't even have weekly activities because most of the members would have relocated to the farms. It is only when we get to September, October, that they'll be coming back home with their products. Okay? That is why we are pushing that far. So please, organize yourself. You've not been left out. And we also got to know that many people didn't even get the information at all. So that is why the board, in her wisdom, decided that the closing date should be moved forward. Now, I just want to show you two of our phase 2 projects. The third one is not available in the slides, but I will explain that to you. This is Lagos phase 2. This is a guest house that has been designed. In fact, it's not like we snapped photograph of a building to show you. No, this is a 3D or 4D picture of the work we want to do in Lagos. It is about 80 to 85 rooms. And I'm not sure the biggest of our guest houses as we speak right now can match this one in terms of space, in terms of rooms. I mean, is it rooms now? In terms of grading, you know, hotel or hospitality outfits are graded, you know, using stars. 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, or thereabout. And if we want to grade the ones that we presently have, I don't know how many stars the best has. This is Mushin Challenge Premises project, where we are doing the office complex I talked to us about initially. Then the next one is Kaduna, another guest house in Kaduna. Okay? Kaduna guest house is it's about half of Lagos guest house. And by that, you can work out the arithmetic. If Lagos is about it's about 80 to 85, then Kaduna is half of that. And we are hoping, all things being equal, once we are done with our phase 1 projects, we'll kickstart the phase 2 projects. Each site has an event center. It's not in any of the slides. Each site has an event center because we're trying to look at outfits that have some kind of synergistic effect. Okay? Someone can come to your facility to do business. We see you have a place for events, and then of course you also have a place where people can stay when they come for events. They may not finish and return to their respective places immediately. So that is what we intend to do at the 3 sites. Let me return to the strategy as a recap. The next one. Let me return to the strategy by way of recap. Initially, I told you that we will mobilize funds. And when we mobilize funds, through equity and monthly contribution, we will do infrastructure for our corporate outfits and for us that are individuals. All right? How do we intend to raise the funds needed for the development of personal property? That is where ED Homes comes into being. ED Homes is one of our products. We realize that many of us do not have property, like accommodation and other places of business that we would like to have. And more serious of the two is the problem of people retiring without having where to go. So ED Homes is the answer to this problem. What are the features of ED Homes? Number 1, it is a mandatory property ownership savings scheme for all EQUA staff. The minimum savings projected is 40% of rent allowance deductible at source. Many of us thought it was going to be 40% of total salary. Again, that is a misconception. It is based on rent only, because that is what you get for accommodation in EQUA. And then for the pastors, theirs will be yearly appreciation collection, and then in addition to personal discretionary monthly contribution from payroll. Non-EQUA staff shall save according to personal assessed financial capacity, because it is not restricted to EQUA and EQUA members alone. EQUA and EQUA staff alone. Even our members are welcome. And then initial savings period is 60 consecutive months. And then pledged credit, what you can access by way of mortgage, is 200% of your housing savings account. And then of course, collateral will be your account, in addition to having a guarantor, a surety member of ED Homes, and your continuous contribution. And of course, before we do business with you by way of mortgage, we also want to bring your DCC or your primary place of work on board. What are the benefits that we stand to enjoy? your contribution on monthly basis will attract interest on compound basis. That is one thing. You have interest, and the interest is not simple interest, it's compounded. Next, you are going to have mortgage payback, and I do not think there is any of our to have your personal property before dreaming of. In fact, if before you have your personal property, then of course one's head has to be examined. Okay, we didn't have that opportunity. That is why we have struggled as much as we did. But for you, keying into this project or into this product makes you, to be very, very relaxed in your mind, because you know after a while that will be taken care of without any stress. Of course, you're going to have peace of mind, and then there will be enhanced image for EQUA. I move now to personal action plan. Even though we conceptualized that it is going to be about 40% of your rent subsidy, we realize that at the end of the day, the decision boils down to you. That is why we have personal action plan. You need to determine the quality of the accommodation or the property you want to develop and the projected cost attached. Then set the latest possible time you want to commence the construction of that property. After that, set the monthly contribution target that will produce or give you at least 50% of the estimated cost of the property you want to do at the time of construction. And then, of course, commence your contribution immediately. So, if I say I want to contribute 10,000, you cannot blindly say you will do 10,000 as well. In fact, we wanted to use absolute figures, but we realized that it would be very cumbersome to manage on payroll. That is why it boils down to percentage. I will talk a little more about that in a short while. Then, there is this table that will give you an idea of what we are talking about. In some places, like in my company, when we computed 40% for all the staff, one of the staff, 40% meant 2,000 naira. 2,000. But when you hear 40%, 40, 40, but it's just 2,000 naira. That's one of the staff. I don't know about your company. If you have attempted to do the computation, you will see what I'm saying. Now look at this table. If you contribute 5,000, and the 5,000 came consecutively for 12 months, if we are giving you an interest of 10% on compounded basis, that 5,000 will produce about 66,000 naira at the end of the first year. At the end of 5 years, it will amount to 402,937 naira. At the end of 10 years, if you did not access any mortgage or whatever, that will amount to 1.057. And here we are talking about property construction. And we know it is capital intensive. The next one is if you are doing 10,000. This is what you get. First year, 5 years, and then 10 years. If you are doing, you can do some calculation by yourself. If you want 20,000, if you want 30,000, if you want 50,000. And the 50,000 and the 100,000 were slotted in there for our pastors to see, because their own is appreciation, and that might come at the tail end of the year. Assuming someone got 50,000 naira and the money stays with us for only 90 days, it means at the end of the year, what he has in his account is 51,250. That's it. If he got 50,000, and we are talking about 50,000 interest compounded at 10%, for 90 days. So when we talk, we need to be able to see some of these figures so that we'll be able to understand what we are saying. All right? Now, that is as far as ED Homes is concerned. The second lab that concerns our outfits is ED Corporate Mortgage. Honestly speaking, take a tour of our facilities. You'll be so disturbed in your mind. When you see the roof of some of our outfits, when you see the walls of some of our offices, if you go to a place like Jankwano, that building you see in front of you, if you were using the old gate, that building is the original Jankwano. That stretch of building. And the roof was red. That is why they call it Jankwano. But if you look at that roof today, you will see that roof that was put on that building as far back as 1950 something, 58, 59. It's still there. It is only when it is leaking that they will come and put one shining roof there, one shining, what do you call it? One shining sheet. It's still there. Nothing has happened to that building that much. After 50 years of operation, how about Jamaa? That's not good enough. Even where we are using now, if you are passing through the gate, going to our office, and you look at one building by your left-hand side, and then you look at the buildings surrounding that place, you'll be asking yourself, how about Jamaa? Like the former GS would say, how about Jamaa? That's not good enough. We can do better than that. That is why we are talking about ED corporate mortgage, and it is expected to take care of this. We are leveraging on the decision of the General Church Council and the mandatory annual depreciation, which we are expected to monetize to be able to fix this. And if our outfits are doing this, interest will accrue on a monthly basis. They will have access to mortgage, after 60 consecutive months of contribution. And the mortgage they are going to get can last between 5 to 10 years. What does that do for us? It will take the stress of starting a building and finishing it from us. Take, for example, now, I'm wondering how our people are faring at Ekwa headquarters. Look at the building that is going on there. That work is for EDFSL. That's our work. We will provide the funds, and the building will be taken care of within the shortest possible time, and then it will begin to pay back gradually. That is what we want to replicate almost everywhere we want to work. Of course, there are risks. The beautiful structures may be destroyed by terrorists, fire, or fanatics. What are we supposed to do? We will transfer the risk to insurance outfits. Mortgage borrowers may refuse to pay back. What are we supposed to do to mitigate that? We ensure that we have guarantors for each beneficiary. And also, even for individuals, we are going to be liaising with portfolio to be able to attach the accounts of individuals that are taking loan from us. So they can pledge what they have at portfolio as collateral, so that if they default, then we have no other option than to pick up what they have at portfolio. So that is a kind of synergy that we enjoy working with each other. Future pacing, before I take my seat. ED Homes and ED Corporate Mortgage lay the foundation for the future subsidiary companies of EDFSL. ECWA gave us a company. We are desirous of spinning out 2 more companies from EDFSL. The first one is ED Mortgage Bank Limited. This outfit is planned as a subsidiary to finance property development in ECWA, a bank dedicated to property development. Second, we are desirous of spinning out ED Homes Limited, a planned subsidiary to handle property construction, property management, and offer real estate advisory services. Sometimes people ask us, are you going to build for us? No, we can't do that now. But we are looking ahead that, God willing, we are going to have a new company called ED Homes Limited that will be in charge of that. Secondly, We are going to be having some kind of integrated approach to property development using our combined energies. 1, from our share capital. 2, from our ED pool fund. 3, from ED homes. 4, from ED corporate mortgage. Then we can deliver infrastructure at the speed of light for individuals and for ECWA corporate entities. And of course, we are looking at expansion of infrastructure all across ECWA. So we are already dreaming of strategic churches to be built, office complexes, hostel blocks, best of date facilities in our hospitals, and so on and so forth. And then of course, we are looking forward to creating what we call ECWA colonies. We go to a place and buy a large expanse of land and apportion the land to ECWA members. And then we will apportion 2 or 3 plots for the building of a church. So that when we bring ECWA people to a location, we will provide for them an SCB or a local church where they are going to be worshiping. And then of course, it will be very easy for us to maintain the properties that we have and building new ones. And then of course, we will not rest on our oars, because in the company, marketing is a philosophy, it's not a function. Every member of staff is wired to do marketing. And so we will strive to have more share in the market. When I say more share, we are going to command better share in the existing market. And then of course, that will be accomplished through quality products development and offering to guarantee economic empowerment for ECWA and ECWA members to participate more in the mission of the church. And of course, we also count seriously on your goodwill. Your goodwill, your ceaseless prayers and evergreen support are germane to our operations. It is not me that you see here. Even if you have problems with me as an individual, look beyond me. Because what we are talking about here is ECWA. We are talking about how to make ECWA to be an envy of people, of our neighbors. That is it. It's not me. Forget about me. Let us collaborate to build ECWA. And we've been preaching that we should work at having a new ECWA. That is where we are going. We might have some ideological differences. We can never agree, based on the fact that we have individual differences. But when we come to doing ECWA projects, we must set aside our differences. When some of us were giving some feedback about how tough the implementation of these products will be for us, the General Secretary asked 4 of us to meet: myself, the Director of Finance, Director of Audit, and the Treasurer of ECWA, who headed the subcommittee. When we put all the complaints together, we came up with 4 points which we handed over to the executive. 1, that if 40% of rent subsidy is a bit on the high side, even though I told you in my own company, someone's 40% was 2,000 naira. If for him and people alike, 2,000 is too much, okay? We recommended that we should reduce the benchmark to 20%. 2, we also said, instead of the implementation date fixed for June to be upheld, we recommended at that forum that we should push it to September so that we have enough time to create awareness, just as we are doing now. What we are doing today is one of the fallouts of that meeting. Number 3, we also said, in order not to have too much burden on the entities to do 5% and another 2%, let us collapse the 2 percentages to be 5, so that it will be easier for them to administer. And we also planned that since for corporate entities, it is going to be a budget item or a budget issue, we should defer implementation of ED corporate mortgage to January. So that as we are doing our budget this year, we can figure that in or factor that in, and then we can make the headway. So immediately we finished that meeting, we forwarded these recommendations to the executive. And as we speak, they have not told us they are changing from what they initially sent out. Because if they have considered to doing it, or even otherwise, they are supposed to have given us something in writing. Okay? So this is where we are. But as we speak, we have nothing less than 2 million naira in that account as we speak. Because people have already started contributing. And I would have asked the head of financial operations to give us some information about this, because I think she has more information than myself. We are receiving contributions from people, because once you have caught the idea, once you have caught the dream, you do not need to allow anyone to hold you back. Why are we emphasizing this? Because by the time we get to maturity point, everything shall be on. They will not go tomorrow and say, please, we want to guard against that. It is going to be on the basis of first come, first serve. What did I say? We recommended a reduction of the benchmark to 20%. We also recommended the implementation date for ED homes to be pushed to September, and next month is September. And then we have collapsed the 2% and the 5% to be 5% for corporate mortgage. And then lastly, implementation date for ED corporate mortgage, which is meant to be contributed by companies and entities, and other entities will be a total of 5% for easy management. Now, questions that people have been asking. Is EDFSL, particularly corporate mortgage, not duplicating Equa Portfolio Management Limited work, particularly in relation to assets replacement? The answer is no, completely. Capital no. Why is it capital no? Because at the conceptualization of these companies, asset replacement was a product, was an outfit of EDFSL. That is it. But we can still rationalize, and we have discussed this with portfolio. Since EDFSL is a company dealing with landed property or real estate or infrastructure, anything outside of that remains with EPML. So if you are replacing your vehicle like us, the depreciation of our vehicle will go to EPML. For sure, at the end of this year, which is the first year that vehicle is going to be running, the monetized depreciation will go to EPML en bloc. No fraction of the money is going to be removed. But when we are dealing with lands and buildings, that is ours. Are we together? So that is where we have demarcation. And of course, don't forget that the two companies were midwifed by the finance department. The next question, what about EMS missionaries who are on allowances and do not take salaries? We are doing a presentation to the GS on this. We discussed this at length with the Director of Finance in the past few days, and we are hoping they will be able to come up with something that will take care of them. Then, what about those who have less than 5 years to go? And what about those who already have not just a house, they have houses? Now, listen to our submission. We're talking about personal property. It mustn't necessarily be a house you want to live in. But what about you doing a place of business? Have you thought of having your own shop? Have you thought about having your own fish, whatever? Have you thought about you having your eatery? Have you thought about all of those things that you would like to do that involve building? That is where we are. So if you have already conquered the problem of accommodation, you can still do much more because the company is behind you. The effort you are putting in place is now being powered by EDFSL. And then, even if you lasted for 1 month on the scheme before your exit time is due, you will be giving everything that you have. So you're not going to lose nothing. So for you, it will be an alternative platform. It will be an additional platform for savings. Okay? Then, can a staff remit directly? Okay, sorry. When can a staff quit ED Homes? Of course, the answer is if it is a staff, when he is leaving. What happens to his money when leaving? Everything will be given to you, except if you say no, leave it and allow it to be generating interest for me. Nobody is going to remove a fraction of your cash. And this is what we've been saying again and again. We are in close collaboration with EPML. They are preparing us for retirement through investments and our pensions. Okay? So when you leave, you are going to have money coming to you on a monthly basis. We are working to ensure you have a place to go to. That is your personal house. Again, to do any property development you might like to do before retirement. And when you are going, what EPML has for you will be coming to you on a monthly basis. But you will have a quantum amount of money you are going to be going with. So that will help you to settle down before you start enjoying your monthly takings from EPML as God would allow. Next question. Can a staff remit directly in addition to payroll deduction? Of course, you can. You can. You can even send money from your phone. If you look at the brochure in your hand, the account is there. Send the money, come to the company and obtain your receipt. It's as simple as that. Whatever you are doing will be in addition to whatever is coming to your payroll. Some have also told us in their outfits they don't pay salaries as at when due. Can they send money from any other source? Yes, sir. You are allowed. It was in one remote DCC that people started muttering this idea. Remote DCC where the pastors don't even get salaries. They were asking us, can we send money directly to you without waiting for the DCC? We said yes. So if villagers are willing to do that, and I don't know about us. If we access loan or mortgage, are we going to be charged interest? Why not? Why not? We will be charged a token because that is what you are going to be circulating among us. When we talk about interest, where are we going to generate it to give you? Remember, there is going to be interest coming to your contributions. Apart from what we are doing with the banks, we are also going to be recycling the money. So it's like a huge cooperative. What we collected from you, we will share it amongst all of us, and you will get some amount out of it. That is the beauty of the whole thing, isn't it? Domin abin the answer ma wajenka za raba har da ke. You understand? That is the beauty of the whole thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is where I drop the anchor. Thank you. Sorry, when the introduction was done, the director of audit wasn't around. Oga, you are welcome. Director of audit, sir, you are welcome, sir. And the director of finance, you are welcome, sir. Do I have the MD of portfolio with us? Okay. We have the SA from the GS's office with us. You are welcome, sir. Do we have the PRO? Okay. And then some other heads of outfits that we have. You are all welcome.
Thank you very much. Can we give a round of applause? Sir. Okay, we have some questions here written from the audience. I'm going to read those ones that I can read because some of the handwritings are not really readable. One of the questions is, if one wants to pay 5 years minimum to his own account, can he get the loan right away? That's one of the questions. Okay. Okay, 2. That we did not capture what will happen to the individual when he retires or when he has finished. I think we've answered that question. Okay. Do you take into account the visibility and viability appraisal before embarking into such project? the project we have embarked on, I think. And the major challenge is what about staff outfit that have not remit their staff investment and contributory pension? What will happen to their deductions? Then what about staff on Equa House, and those are staying in Equa House, and after deducting housing by the organization, what is left with the minimal amount that is not significant to take care of the 40%? And then staff have collected their housing for the year, and they are currently servicing the loan, and their take home will not be able to cater for 20%. So what happened to them?
All right, thank you so much. Please, one of the advantages that I have is that I've been at the Equa headquarters for many, many years. Okay? If you take the length of years I have served, the only few years that I did outside of Equa headquarters would be 5 years only. I've been here shuttling between audit and finance. And with that, I have a lot of information concerning Equa headquarters and everything that happened at Equa headquarters all through from 1991. Are we together? When we were developing Equa investment scheme, we also planned a gestation period for the commencement of loans. Because if you don't do that, you will not be able to pool enough funds together that you are going to be recycling. So if you bring everything for what is due for 5 years, you are bringing it now, and you want to take a loan, you know, I don't think that is in the spirit of the concept that we have. So the board has approved that the gestation period should be 60 months, and we simply just have to wait. We will soon be there. When we were talking to people about investment scheme, how we are going to wait, they thought the number of years will never come. But it came, and everybody started enjoying. So please, let us stick with that. Then, what happens to the savings after retirement? We told you, you go with it if you want. You go with every dime if that is your wish. The major challenge being mandatory. That shouldn't be a challenge. Shouldn't be. And I just want to tell you that in the next few years, when our financial literacy would have grown, we wouldn't need to tell anyone you have to do this. But at the level we are now, if people are left to decide whether they should be part or they will not be part, it will be an issue. In our discussion with the Director of Finance, is it yesterday or 2 days ago, this issue came up again. And we simply told ourselves that this is the way to go as it has been arranged. So please, that is where we are headed, and that is why the letter carries the word mandatory. If a staff collected his own housing in advance and he cannot take care of 20%, we do not know the proportion of the people in this category. The first thing you are supposed to do is to even find out how much is your 20%. How much is it? Because when we do, it will be a mere academic exercise for us to be generating scenarios and asking questions. Let us come face to face, bring your problem, let us look at it. Then we'll go back and discuss with the Director of Finance. If we have such, what do we do? Okay? And I think I needed to talk about some of our staff who are living in Equa houses, particularly the auditors who, by way of salary arrangement, they are not paid, those in the DCCs, they are not paid housing subsidy. They don't receive their rent allowance. At the first interface I had with some of the auditors who are concerned with this problem, they said they will even talk with with their department. They will tell the department how much to be taken from their salary in view of that. And I believe it is something they can experiment with. So it is not only those who have taken their housing subsidy for the whole year, but we also have auditors at the DCCs who do not take any rent allowance. So, Director, please help them to bring their point into action. And then, what about staff on Equa House after deducting? Okay, I think it's the same thing. Then do you take into account the feasibility and viability appraisal before embarking? Yeah, this is a very serious business question. And of course, don't forget that you need to have a video clip of our board deliberations. We have every professional on that board. So when it comes to issues like this, you can take it for granted. Viability, viability, feasibility, all of them have been taken care of before coming up with what we are doing at Kaduna, Lagos, and Port Harcourt. And I think these are basically the questions that we have here. If we don't have any other, I will hand over to the head of human resource, and then she will continue with the proceedings because we are almost running out of time.
Okay, thank you very much. It's like we've come to the end of this program today. After the closing prayer, those with tickets, we issue tickets to those that came and registered first. So the number on your ticket, that's the amount of the thousands that you're going to give us. Okay, a little lunch will be served right behind there. And please kindly present your ticket and get your lunch. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask the director of, coordinator of Equa Community Health Program to pray. Please, closing prayer, sir. Yes.
Shall we pray? Father, we want to thank you for a like this. Thank you for the inspiring talk we've just received. Thank you for the resource person you have used. And it's all edifying. God, I pray that you be good implementators of this for the development of ourselves and our organizations. Father, Lord, we pray that the Spirit shall inspire us to do what is expected of us. Father, Lord, I pray that by this we shall have development in Equa and personally. Father, Lord, as we are leaving this place to our respective offices and homes, I pray that you grant us journey mercy. Thank you, Lord, because you've answered our prayers. In Christ Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen.
Thank you very much. Please, I would suggest that we start from the front. Yes, those from the front. Excuse me. You go and queue up from the front.